Hello. So I wanted to give everybody an update. I know that after the first failed transfer, kind of went a little dark in March, because that sucked, if we're going to be honest. And we actually talked about it. I talked to the doctor, talked to my nurse there, and we went ahead and actually did another planned transfer. We did that transfer in May, the beginning of it was the beginning of May, and then it was successful until it wasn't. So we had a transfer that stuck, and then that resulted in a miscarriage, which we went through all of that, and that sucks, and that hurts, and it still hurts, and I still cry a lot because of it. And then going through June of last year, my Mimi, who that's her right there, I loved her so much. I was very close to her. I talked to her weekly, and she passed away June of last year, and so that was hard. And then going through the miscarriage, then going through and hitting the date of her passing was not fun. And then towards the end of June, the job that I was working at, that I loved doing, suddenly I didn't fit into that new GM's idea of what that office should look like. So he got rid of me. And then at the end of that same week, Adrian's boss didn't like him anymore. So he wanted him gone. And so we went through July trying to find new jobs, trying to figure out what we were going to do. Adrian's good. He's got a job. We're golden. We had enough, figured out that we were going to fine. All the bills were paid. Nobody lacked anything. We were good. But I still don't have one, because I stay home and I homeschool the boys. And most people don't want somebody who has to stay home and work remote all the time. So I lost, not only did we have that failed transfer, which sucked, then we had the miscarriage, which also sucks, because at this point I should be about 4 months along, and that's super fun to think about. Pretty much every day of my life since then. And then not having a job. So you get part of your identity taken away when you have a miscarriage. And then when you lose your job, because I've been working since I was 13. And so I've had a job or had something to do since I was 13. And now I don't have anything, and this was not by my choice. So another part of my identity was taken away. And so I'm struggling a lot with that. And then Adrian and I, a couple weeks ago, we decided to start a podcast. So we've been doing that, which is good because it allows us we actually have to stop what we're doing and spend time together, which we do a lot of that anyway, but just to kind of be goofy together, to help with just the very hard, really, year that we've had. So we've been doing that, and we kind of reorganized the office space, which is where I'm at right now, and reorganized half of the garage for the boys to do school. That'll be an area that I can do some work when I do get that. But it's been very rough. Once we get the job situation figured out, once we get kind of everything back on track to the way that it was supposed to have been, we're going to try again for another transfer. And regardless, my doctor said you need to wait at least a month before you try again, because he said then that if you don't, then that kind of increases the chances of another miscarriage. And I love him because when he called, he didn't call the same day that I found out. He called me the next day in the morning. He's like, I'm not even going to ask you how you feel, because I know how you feel. It sucks. And he was on the phone with me for I think less than a minute. And he's like, but just know that I'm here. And if you need to talk to me, call me. So that's been difficult to try to process how that makes a person feel, because it's very difficult, because you go through this whole thing from the shots in the beginning to the egg retrieval to the medications that you have to take, the birth control, the injections 3 times a day, and you go through all that, and then you get your eggs, and you're like, okay, this is great. Let's get ready for the next step. And then you do the next step, and those shots were not fun. And I found out during this process that I had a fabulous rare side effect of that, where that medication, the progesterone, typically is supposed to make you sleepy. And that's part of the reason why you take it at night, is because it makes you sleepy so you can go to sleep. Well, mine was not. I had that lovely rare bit where instead of making me sleepy, it would keep me awake. So if I took my shot at 7 o'clock at night, I wouldn't go to bed until 2 o'clock in the morning. And then as I'm laying there trying to fall asleep, at one point my resting heart rate was 108 beats per minute. And I still had knots. I still have at least 2 knots still from those shots, and I stopped those in May. And so, you know that it's going to be exhausting, the whole process, that it's going to have an effect on you in every way possible, but you don't quite realize the level of that you are physically drained, emotionally, mentally, all of that. Just it is a giant weight on your shoulders. And I didn't realize that it was going to be that hard when we started. And then you add this, this last thing here onto that, and it's terrible. It's not something I would ever wish on anyone. And during this whole process from May to now, I have gone up and down in being happy, being angry, being depressed, and I still hit those. This past weekend was one of them where I don't feel like I have a place. I feel like I'm floating. But because I'm still a mom, I still have to make sure the boys have eaten breakfast, to help them with their school. Did we eat lunch? Did we get our homework done? Okay, great. We need to get our clothes on. We have to go to karate. We've got to do all that. And so, you still have to do that, because you can't just lay in bed as much as I want to. And Adrian was really good, and he let me do that for a couple days. He's like, just do nothing. Just lay there. And so, and I've done that a couple times, especially after I lost my job. It was like one thing after another. I'm like, we cannot catch a break. Can we catch a break? And it's probably been in the last couple weeks, maybe the last month or so, that I decided that I need to get myself right with Jesus and do more of a studying and giving that over to him, and say, hey, listen, I'm not in control of this. I don't want to be in control of this. If we could, just, if you want to take it, please. So I've been doing some studies, some Bible reading on just anxiety, mostly, to just kind of calm and not have to worry and deal with all that. And that's been very, very helpful. Oh, God, I'm sorry. So I, sorry. So I am renewing that and giving that to him. And I've got an app that I open every morning and every evening it sends me a prayer and a Bible verse. And it always pops up and it tells you the date, and then it says something underneath it. One day it said that God was going to make all your dreams come true. And, then it says you're winning life. And God's going to make this week amazing. And so seeing that every day, especially when you first thing in the morning when you wake up and you get that positivity just thrown into you, you're like, okay, this is good. I can do this. So I've been trying to just accept that and to let him be in control, and that way I don't have to worry about it. And he will take care of it in his time. And if he wants me to get a job, I'll get a job. If he doesn't want me to get a job, then I won't get a job. And then he's going to take care of everything. And that the IVF stuff is going to work, and we're going to get it done. I don't know when we do it again if we're going to share. I think it just depends on how I feel in that moment. But right now we're looking at potentially, hopefully, that it'll be towards the end of the year. That way we have enough time to get everything figured out, sorted out. Right now we're waiting on insurance because we lost insurance when Adrian lost his job. And so we're waiting on the new insurance for his new job, which is supposed to be active. It's not. And at least we're not in their system. They have no idea who I am at all. They know he exists, but they don't know his plan. So that's fun. But one thing that, for those of you that do pray, that this insurance that we have will cover the medication that's not shots, because I can't do the shots anymore. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't sit. I can't do the knots anymore. So they do have a medication that does not require shots, and that's what I'm going to do the next time. But it is significantly, and when I say significantly more expensive, I mean significantly more expensive. For the shots, for 4 vials, was with insurance and shipping, $35 for basically a 4-week supply, just shy of 4 weeks. For that same amount of time frame, for one, there's 2 different kind of medications that you can use that aren't shots. For one of those, it was around $550 for a month, and then another one was a little bit less than half of that, so like 100 and something for a month. But you're looking at anywhere from $1,500 to $4,500 for the non-shots. So some insurances will cover some of those medications, one or the other. So if you guys would just do some prayers, throw out the good vibes, all that, for the insurance to cover that, and even any little bit of that would be great. We're looking at the end of the month again. Thank you guys for following the journey, and I appreciate you guys respecting the need for privacy during that point. And if you guys have questions or anything, especially if you've gone through a miscarriage, it sucks, and it's not something you want to talk about, because I don't want to talk about it. But sometimes I find that talking about it, even with people who don't necessarily understand, sometimes it feels good to just talk about it, because you're releasing that pent up emotion and that the thoughts. So feel free to talk to me about it if you want to, or just talk in general. Doesn't even have to be about that. But thank you guys for being with us through this, and praying with us, and celebrating with us, and crying with us. That's the update that I have, and I'm going to try to keep more updates, at least in regards to the IVF process, as they come about. But for right now, we're kind of at a standstill until we get the insurance and job stuff figured out. Because a lot of the IVF stuff was coming from my income. And since that went away, that sort of stopped. So, yeah. But thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. And I hope that you have a great week. God bless.